Bradley, it's time.
It's time to set sail for One Piece.
It is. Our recurring segment on the show.
You got One Piece.
You got One Piece.
Take that, you One Piece.
Take that, Luffy.
You finished Drum Island. You read one volume then?
I certainly did. It was about 15 chapters, and
Let me bring up. Hold on. What volume was it?
volume 16 through 17, and we're gonna be starting this week with chapter 140.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
Last week we left off right when we introduce Tony Chopper, who, like I've said before, I had always seen him, but I didn't know what his deal was, and man, really like this character.
Really like his deal.
Really like him. So I guess we can just jump right into it.
Let's.
Yeah.
So in chapter 139, I think it's literally called Enter Tony Chopper. That was the last chapter we had discussed last week, and that's kind of our first look at him, and we get to explore him a lot more in chapter 140. And man, I just want to talk about how much characterization we get in just a few pages with him.
Ooh.
Um,
Lay it on
like-
me, Bradley.
like right at the end of like the very last page of chapter 139, we see the giant Tony Chopper just totally lay out Luffy and Sanji, and then immediately after that, at the beginning of 140, he's being like very meek and peeking around doors, and then he like runs off, and then Nami compliments him, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like getting complimented,"
He
but
does
he
this dumb
clearly
little
loves being
dance.
complimented.
Yeah.
Which is it's really fun because he does that multiple times, and it just makes you love him. It's just a fun little quirk of his, and I don't know, all that is within like 2 or 3 pages, and like you just get so much personality out of him for how little you know, and man, it's a lot of fun. So we're kind of moving forward, and Nami is asking about Tony Chopper, like, okay, what's his deal? What is this guy? She even asks him right off the bat to join their crew, and
This
he's
was
clearly,
interesting because Nami asked first, yeah?
yeah, and he's clearly interested in them. He's like, "Oh, you guys are pirates, huh?" And we're gonna learn why he's so interested in pirates.
Yes, we are.
And the old hag doctor is like, man, that he has a wound that not even a doctor can heal. And we begin moving into this gigantic flashback arc, and what a flashback arc it is. Right before we do that, though, King Wapol and his crew show up to the castle, and what I really like is right before this like very long flashback starts, Luffy is winding up a gum bullet right in front of Wapol's face. And this is a lot of fun because he finishes this attack after the flashback ends. And I think the reason it works so well is that this flashback gives you everything you need to just totally hate Wapol as a person.
And you immediately get retribution. Like, man, I wish someone would punch Wapol, and then you remember, oh, someone is right now.
Yeah, that was just on Oda's part. That was just an amazing way to set up and conclude this flashback. It was a very good.
It's like a
sandwich.
very long punchline to just a
there
quick
you go.
joke.
Man.
I'm looking at the panel right now, and so like in this panel, I like pointing out the jokes. Wapple's about to get punched, his
Very
eyes are
funny.
bulging out, but if you notice, his little cape with the hippo in it, the eyes are also bulging out and looking at Luffy's face.
It's pretty good.
So we move into Chopper's backstory, and One Piece has had its fair share of sad backstories, and man, this one really got me.
This one's so good.
I want to say one thing that is really impressive about One Piece is that, going into it, I never expected these like really, really dark and sad backstories that it has.
Like, good writing, like legit.
It's really good, and the reason it impresses me is that One Piece is a very cartoony and goofy manga, and I feel like it would be really easy for very dark and sad moments to feel out of place. Like, oh, I don't really know if that goes well, but it never feels out of place in One Piece. I think Oda knows when to make someone laugh and when to make someone cry, and he doesn't. It's not jarring when he swaps between the two, and I think that's kind of masterful.
It helps that he set the tone early, right? Like you look at stuff like Boogie, where you have the sad story of like Chow Chow, but then
Yeah.
you also have all these dumb hijinks with Boogie. But then also Boogie is blowing up villages while he's doing it. He's always been really good at marrying the dark with the funny.
Well, that also happens chapter 1 because it's all
Yeah.
about like Luffy being a kid, he wants to be a pirate, and he's up like he's causing trouble, and it kind of like crescendos with Shanks having to sacrifice his arm to save Luffy, like, and you're just like, oh my god, like this person is literally like basically almost gave his life away to save a kid that's really that screwed them basically.
It also helps that like everything's so weighty in One Piece, where
Yeah.
like hits are heavy and blood is spilled and people are suffering, and like when you have to be a badass, you have to be the biggest badass there is, because that's the only way you make an impression. Like there's just this tone to One Piece that it's really hard to put your finger on, but it's just there.
Yeah, and so that's we kind of kick off this flashback, and it's kind of a parallel flashback. We're swapping back and forth between Dalton and Chopper. I think the much bigger focus is on Chopper, but you can't ignore Dalton's
Yeah,
whole arc where
Dalton's great.
he really goes from being one of Wapple's right hand men, and he just realizes that this kingdom they've made is not sustainable, and a young Vivi just really left an impression on him, and
Mm-hmm.
you see how far he's come, and I think he's a really I just love this man.
With very little screen time and dialogue, they make Dalton very respectable and likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also, man, that flashback with Vivi, it just leaves no doubt in your mind that she is the one who should be ruling Alabasta. Like she is just such a good ruler. Oh my
she
god.
cares for her people unconditionally. She's very
Yeah.
nice.
Even at such a young age, she was very wise.
Yeah.
So aside from Dalton, man, we get the whole scoop on Chopper, and right off the bat, he had a raw deal in life. He just never fit in, even before the human fruit.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever invited him to any reindeer games.
Fucking
He,
Blitzen was such an asshole.
I know, and you just really feel for this guy because the reindeer didn't want him, and then he's like,
humans
oh
think
well, I
he's
have
a
the
monster.
human fruit, and the humans didn't want him. No one really wanted to be a part of this man's life, and he spent a long time by himself, and man, he eventually makes his first friend with the quack doctor.
Man, Hero Look is so fucking good. There's this panel here where he's naked in the snow just to like that's such a weird thing. Like, why are you even doing this? You're just such a weirdo. But like it's such a raw show of emotion and camaraderie, and like I am exposing myself to you to show you I would never shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he and the old hag, who I can't remember her name.
Carrera.
Yeah, they both just kind of exemplify this idea of like what a doctor should be, kind of like how Luffy idealizes what a pirate should be in this world, where
Mhm.
they clearly have very different personalities, but they both subscribe to this philosophy where you cannot leave someone behind who needs a doctor's help.
And I think something else that I think Oda does really good is that he gets that personification of like this is what that person should be, but he doesn't not dehumanizes, but doesn't like make them into godly idols. Like Harlock and Guerra are great doctors.
Hero Look shoots a woman because she's running away, like during the like, while he's performing on this child. He's a fucking nut.
And they take monies and they scam people out of it, like because like they need money to survive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, well, they are also doing the right thing compared to.
They're rough and tough and bad role models, but with golden hearts. Like they're which makes them great role models.
Yeah, they don't have to be perfect people. They but they have the traits that we really needed Chopper to be exposed to. And
Chopper needed to see.
Yeah, and man, a wounded Chopper makes his first friend, and seeing their kind of friendship develop over the course of a year through these panels is just really sweet. You can see how they grow on each other, and here look, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
He eventually, the time comes. He's known this whole time that he would have to say goodbye to Chopper one day. And when the time comes, it's a very hard goodbye, but he's adamant that no, like there's a world out there for Chopper. He needs to experience this, and this is Chopper's first friend, and it's hard for him to let go.
Man,
and I guess I shouldn't skip over.
There's so many small details. Like I love when they're running away from people and like they're just both being little scramps running away together, and like you have a young Chopper just also running away with him. You have him feeding him the bread. You got when he shoots Chopper or he shoots at Chopper, something he promised never to do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And it's also extremely worth mentioning. Hiruluk is the one who exposed Chopper to the idea of pirates, and I think kind of like Luffy's childhood, he got this very noble picture of what a pirate should be, which is exactly what I think he needed. And
yeah, it's like a Hiruluk also seems to have like a distorted view or like a not traditional view where like he doesn't even view the pirate as or the flag as like, oh man, pirates are cool. He sees the Jolly Roger as like, this is a flag that people put up when they're defying the odds and like they're standing up against everything that's impossible, like a flag of freedom.
yeah, and man, it's just I think it was so good for Chopper because it just gave him this drive, something to strive for in life. Like I think Hiruluk really instilled it in him that nothing is impossible, and seeing that symbol of the Jolly Roger is what reminds him of that. But man, it also sets up for this tragedy where after Hiruluk splits ways with Chopper, and Chopper is clearly still sticking around, Chopper learns that he's sick and he's gonna have to save Hiruluk's life, and he sees a skull and crossbones next to this mushroom in one of these medicine books, and to him that's the symbol of hope. It's the symbol of nothing is impossible, and Hiruluk always said that no disease is incurable, and I'm hoisting this skull and crossbones against all diseases. And so Chopper sees that and he's like, this is hope, this is what we need, this will save him,
man.
And it was poison, and it's so tragic.
And like there's so many fuck, like just the artwork throughout this flashback is so good where you feel so bad for Chopper, especially when he's going to get the mushroom you just talked about, and he runs into the reindeers that he grew up with, and he bravely goes through as they beat the shit out of him, but he's still brave. He keeps going.
Oh yeah.
He finally gets to the cliff, and these motherfuckers creep up behind him, and the way he shows up is just absolutely heartbreaking. He looks destroyed.
Oh man.
Oh man. And Hiruluk takes him into his arms like with such emotion just from a drawing. Man. Oh, that's too good.
And I forgot to mention, I'm flipping through it right now, and one of the most heartbreaking panels in probably any manga that I've seen is after Hiruluk initially kicks Chopper out, and Chopper bangs his head against the door and hurts himself, so that the doctor will take him back in. And just seeing cute little Chopper hurt himself, like that, man, that really got me, man.
He thinks it's the only way that like and it also it's like it's kind of fucked up because like our relationship is like you'll take care of me, right? It's like it's so much more complex than that, Chopper.
Man, like this is a really sad backstory, but it just makes you love and root for him so much.
It really does.
And so we get a really nice conclusion to Hiruluk where he risks his life going to the castle when he hears about the doctors being sick, which it was actually a trap for him. But man, like what really just finalized him as being just such a good guy for me was when he learns that the doctors being sick was a trap. He isn't his reaction isn't, oh no, I got trapped, they're gonna kill me. he's relieved because he's like, nobody's sick, the nation's gonna be okay. And I was like, man, this is what a good man.
What a good man. His final lines are probably top 5 in all of One Piece for me. Like top 5 quotes in all of One Piece. It's his "When is a man truly dead?" speech. And his conclusion is, a man isn't dead when he's killed by a bullet or an explosion or a deadly mushroom. A man is dead when he's forgotten. And because of that, Hero Luck still lives on today.
Yeah, and just the impact that had not only on us, the reader, but also on Dalton, because I think Vivi sowed Dalton's doubts in Wapol, but hearing Hirlix say that face to face, I think is the moment that Dalton realized, I have to do something. Like I can't serve this guy anymore. Yeah. And so pretty soon after that, we come out of this flashback and we get the satisfying conclusion of that Gum Gun bullet.
Oh man, look at the fucking way this impact is drawn.
Holy shit, what
the way that Oda draws like Luffy putting his whole body into it, and then he kind of like does like a sketchy artwork with his body and hair.
Man, what a punch.
What a punch.
So yeah, that was I think pretty much half that volume was a flashback, but man, One Piece has amazing flashbacks.
When One Piece goes into like a 20 chapter flashback, you know you're getting into some good shit.
Yeah. And then that kicks off the big action, and we have some cool fights here. And man, I talked last time about how the Munch Munch fruit is cool. Like like we already saw it do some really cool things, like cooler than I thought it would be able to do, and every single chapter has it doing
new stuff,
just more stuff, and it is so cool. The Munch Munch factory, like Wapol is like mega Kirby. Like,
yeah, he's like Kirby but way weaker.
Man, like whatever he eats, he can like morph his body according to it. I think it is so cool.
There's a little note here. This is the first instance of team up attacks, I think, with the Straw Hats, where they do the air assaults with Sanji kicking Luffy into Wapol.
Yeah, and that was such a cool move.
One Piece has some really fun team attacks. They're always like highlights of the action for me.
And even the bad guys get team attacks too, where one of the minions is like throwing his sticky hair at them, which is flammable, and then Chess shoots fire arrows to try to catch them on fire.
So man. I have a bad confession to make.
Oh no.
This whole time, for years, I'm talking like decades since I've been reading One Piece, right? I thought Chess Marimo was properly fused by the Munch Munch fruit.
Oh no.
And upon a reread recently, and with Joe rereading, it came to light that they were just standing on top of each other.
Yeah. Which is honestly better because it's just funny.
I was so betrayed.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh fuck.
But man, yeah, we get quite a few chapters of just straight up action, kind of at the top and the bottom of this mountain, where everyone's kind of reeling from the avalanche and getting ready to
climb,
head up the mountain. And man, just so much going on between Luffy and Wapol. What a fight. And also Chopper and Wapol.
I really like Usopp trying to carry Dalton. A very brave moment that is then gagged because he can't physically carry Dalton.
Yeah, but I still give Usopp credit.
Good job, Usopp.
His heart was in the right place. So I'm kind of flipping through this, and we get a really good kind of scene in the middle of the fight where Wapol shoots down the Jolly Roger flag at the top of the castle. And obviously this is the worst thing for Chopper, because that's his memorial to his first and best friend. And Luffy, Luffy just immediately puts it back up, and he's like, no, like, you can't disgrace this symbol, because just like Chopper, the Jolly Roger means so much to Luffy. He puts it back up there, and Wapol tries to shoot it back down, and Luffy just tanks the hit. He's like, no, this is unbreakable. And he's not just talking about the flag itself, the physical flag, but the spirit of what it stands for.
And especially some punk like Wapol, like, how dare he? Is what goes through Luffy's head here.
Yeah, and then Wapol says, like, oh, that flag means nothing to me. And man, that's not something you want to say to Luffy. Like, he says, I'm gonna clobber those guys. It's clobbering time.
That's what he says, just like Joe.
And man, Luffy defending the Jolly Roger like that is really what Chopper needed to see.
Yeah.
I think, Chopper really kind of after this whole fight is over. Chopper kind of resists joining the Straw Hats at first, but I think at that moment, it was kind of cemented in his mind that these are the pirates that I belong with.
I agree. Like, the matter was settled as soon as he saw Luffy holding that flag.
Yeah. So after that we moved back into some just like nonstop breakneck action all around and inside the castle. With some really good moments now and then. So we kind of reached this moment where it's like Chopper's real moment to shine in the battle when he's showing off all his different transformations, which Luffy is like, this is the coolest shit ever. Mm-hmm. And all these forms look really cool too.
Rumble Ball.
I like when Luffy's like, are you gonna shoot a beam?
Yeah, and he's like, no. Which would have been cool, but I also like the Rumble Ball. And we find out that typically these types of devil fruits give you like 3 different forms. Mm-hmm. But through Chopper's medicinal study, he has found that he can make a Rumble Ball, which lets him transform even more, which is kind of cool. We get some extra forms, and they're all awesome looking.
Yeah, and I don't think you get to see them all. I think notably we saw Arm Point, Jump Point, and Guard Point.
Yeah.
So I think that leaves one more.
Antler Point's the best one, but that's later.
We'll see. And then we get to, after kind of showcasing all these transformations, Wapol runs inside the castle, and I just really laughed at this page where he sees Nami, and he's like, "Oh, are you one of the pirates?" And she's like, "Oh no, I'm just a navigator passing through. Bye bye." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Wait a minute." He's lying.
You do the page flip, and he's like chasing over her.
Yeah. And man, he does even more cool stuff where he's like, "Oh, I'm too heavy," and then he eats himself and he transforms, and it looks really cool.
Hot Wapol.
So let's see. I'm kind of flipping through pages by page. Oh man. So here's like the shining moment of this arc for me. So there's kind of like the last like big, maybe not the last big confrontation between Luffy and Wapol, but one of the last big confrontations. Wapol's like, "How dare you defy me? You can't mock me. I'm the king, blah, 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 blah." And Luffy says, "I don't care if you're a king or not." And then we cut away. He says, "I don't care if you're a king or not." And then we cut away outside where Chopper's talking to Old Lady Doctor. And he's like, "Doctor, like, he called me his friend." And then it cuts back to Luffy, and he says, "Because I'm a pirate." And I like this because Luffy saying "because I'm a pirate" punctuates 2 different conversations at once. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you're a king or not, because I'm a pirate. But there's also, in a totally different location, Chopper saying Luffy called me his friend, and Luffy says because I'm a pirate.
Right.
And Oda's just being Oda's being so efficient and just masterful here. Like, that is such a good way to lay this out.
He is the master of just making a manga enjoyable to read.
Yeah, despite the fact that we get this moment with Chopper in the middle of Luffy's sentence, it doesn't break the stride, and it just punctuates both of these sentences. And holy shit, I think that was the thing I was like the most impressed with during my reading this week. I just loved it so much. Like, I think we said it before, there might be other manga stories that could be more entertaining, or there might be other stories with maybe better art, though I really love One Piece's art. But I think Oda is the best at making a manga.
The whole
as
package.
Far as like laying it out, pacing, like structure, flow, everything like that. I think he is the master of the craft.
He makes it, as someone who's in living hell because I'm caught up, he makes it like enjoyable and an exciting experience when the next one comes out.
I think
every chapter doesn't seem wasted when it comes out.
Yeah, I think he's the best at specifically creating manga. He is just, God, what a guy.
Man, and like, I've gone on record to say that like One Piece is one of the most layered, best stories of all time, and we'll see how you feel when you get there. But like it goes places.
Yeah.
Another note is that there is no One Piece arc without someone trying to commit suicide, because here we have Dalton with 70 sticks of dynamite.
Yeah, he's gonna suicide bomb this place.
Classic One Piece.
Fortunately, I don't think it comes to that. We get a few more chapters of just kind of straight up action. Of course, One Piece always kind of has some good character moments interspersed in there. But just kind of flipping through it, we get the really satisfying conclusion to the fight. Like,
well, there's one like panel on here that I think really is poignant. That like it makes Dalton just be a better character. Is like he goes, "What's so wrong about wanting your country to have a heart?"
Yeah.
And it's kind of great because the next panel over is like Viva is a panel of Vivi being shocked but also like inspired by him. So you have this loop of he was inspired by her and now he's doing the same.
That's really good.
That is so good.
Another thing is we're getting to like a more regal part of One Piece where there's kings and kingdoms.
Yeah, and there's like a world government.
And world government is being introduced. Yeah, I think world government is really formally introduced this arc.
There was a flashback to the flashback because that's how Vivi and Dalton run into each other. Is at the Reverie, I think.
Yeah, it's the Reverie, but also Wapol brings it up, and like you're getting this concept of like, what is a good king? What is a bad king? A pirate doesn't care about either because he's a fucking pirate, and like you're really setting these seeds that are very important to One Piece's overall storytelling.
Yeah.
And just to back it up a bit, the idea of healing your country through cherry blossoms is so abstract.
In Japanese.
But like, I guess so. But like, it's kind of so beautiful that Hirulek is trying to heal the country by healing their hearts, by just showing them a miracle, cherry blossoms in the snow. That is such like a quack doctor, but like poetic goal to have.
It really is poetic because that's what Dalton agrees. That's what this country needs. He's like, this country is sick, and it's not necessarily physically sick.
It needs hope,
that's what they need.
Yeah.
And man, we really have been introducing a lot. Pretty much every arc for the past while has been introducing a lot more elements of this world, like different technologies and governments and countries. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Oda juggles all this. I have faith that he can, because I think Oda can pull off just about anything.
No one can world build at even the only person that can world build at Oda's level is the Attack on Titan guy, because like they're on other levels.
So I'm interested to see how he juggles all this going forward, since I'm still relatively early in the story, but I think he'll do fine at it.
In my personal opinion, I think that really shines post this saga.
Yeah. You've reached a huge point in One Piece, which I'm excited about. But we should talk about Wapol's finale here.
Yes.
Man, I'm just gonna say the Gum Gum Bazooka that caps off this fight. Holy shit! Like,
fucking launches this guy.
And it's a great closure too, because that's how this whole arc started, basically.
Yeah, with Luffy bazookaing Wapol off the ship. Yeah. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
And he, Team Rocket, blasts off again into the horizon.
Into a cover arc.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I like how the last thing he sees is also the flag, and he's trying to bribe Luffy, and like, this flag is in front of you, and you don't understand what it really means, and you're still trying to weasel your way out of here.
Yeah. And so after Wapol's defeated, the only thing left to do really is well, not the only thing left to do. The big thing that we know is coming next is, okay, they have to convince Chopper to join the Straw Hats. Like, because I mean, clearly it's going to happen at this point. So it really does take them some time to get Chopper to join. And I think it was really hard on Chopper, because as soon as the fight's over, and these people make it to the top of the mountain, you have people calling him a monster again, which that's like the core of this trauma that he's had his whole life, is that people see him as a monster. He doesn't belong anywhere, and I think that really hurt him. So when Luffy says, "Hey, let's be pirates," he's like, "No, I can't. I'm a monster. I don't belong with you." And it's kind of up to Luffy to convince him that he does belong.
He just does it by telling you to shut up.
Yeah, and it's so great because we always talk about the emotional mastermind that is Luffy, and Luffy just insists, like, "No, shut up and come with us." And Zoro's like, yeah, you think that's gonna work? Yeah, that's gonna change his mind. But it totally did. Like, Luffy always knows what people need, and Chopper just needed that insistence. Like, yes, you do belong. Like,
you're a monster, but you're our friend. Like, we don't care.
Yeah, and it just worked so well. And so we also kind of tie off ends with all these other characters where Chopper has to say goodbye to Old Lady Doctor, which is her real name. And she, at first, she seems kind of cruel to him, but we later learn that she knew she was going to be saying goodbye, and he was going to be going with the Straw Hats. She just can't do
sad goodbyes.
She can't do sad goodbyes.
Very Zeph-like, how Zeph forces Sanji to leave. I love that kind of shit. Always easy way to get to me.
Yeah, and I also appreciate how she kind of sends off Nami without actually sending her off, because she also subscribes to that whole code where she can't let someone go until they finished her treatment. But she kind of creates a loophole for herself where she's like, "I'm gonna leave the room. My coat's over there. There's no guards. Promise me you won't leave." So she didn't technically let Nami go, but she allowed Nami to go. And I just think it's fun that she didn't break her code while also letting them do what she knows needed to be done.
Just very true to her character. Just really good, consistent character writing.
Yeah. And man, they kind of start taking off, and we get a really interesting moment here where I'm trying to find.
Well, just real quick, the panel of them like as like a sleigh through the night, just gorgeous.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
And then you get Kureha looking out kind of sadly, like without showing too much emotion, that she starts crying a little bit.
Yeah, and they want to send them off with cannon fire, and they put in Hirulook's powder that he finally developed. And we get the rose-colored snow. We get the cherry blossom-colored snow.
Yeah.
And God, it's beautiful. And this is the moment when this kingdom's hearts are healed. Wapple's gone, and they can rebuild. And there's one last little moment that we need to talk about, and it's clearly something that is meant to draw your attention. And I can't find the particular page, but I remember what was going on.
Is it chapter 154 by any chance?
No, I got to chapter 54, but I hadn't started it.
Damn it!
Somebody mentioned Gold Roger.
That's in 154.
Okay, actually, you know what? I did read 154. 155 is where I saw it.
It also has a person named Ace.
Yeah, and this is a name that I've heard a lot before, and I think I had maybe seen him in a Jump game, and I think he has something to do with fire, but I'm not sure.
He's in J-Stars. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's really interesting looking. At first, I was like, before he said his name, I was like, no, that's not Shanks. That's not him. And then I was like, I don't know. So, but I don't know. Whoever he is, I know he's important just because I've gleaned stuff from just One Piece existing. I don't know if he's good or bad, how important he is to the story, but I'm sure I'll find out.
Character.
And then shortly after we see him, Dalton and Old Lady Doctor, God rest her soul, they he's like, have you ever heard of she says to him, have you ever heard of Gol D. Roger? And I think this is purposefully meant to catch you off guard for a moment because
Mm-hmm.
you've always seen it as Gold Roger, and you kind of have to wonder for a second, like, she's talking about Gold Roger, right? Or is this someone different? And he's like, oh, no, you mean Gold Roger. And she's like, oh, that's what he's called now.
Yeah, that's how he goes by these days.
So she, she's been around the block. She's seen stuff. And obviously, I can't know where this goes. I can only speculate things. I think there's a very clear, and I don't know, I might seem like a fool. I think it's very clear that him having a D initial is supposed to jump out at you, especially considering our main character also has this D initial and he wants to be king of the pirates.
Well, don't forget that they use this phrasing, the will of D lives on.
Yeah, so this is something big, and I don't know if it's just like a fate thing where this new king of the pirates is also going to have a D in his middle name. I can't know where this goes, but whatever it is, it's gonna be interesting.
We're getting into some deep shit, but the most important part of this chapter is the chopstick gag.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I imagine me and Joe doing this chopstick gag whenever a new One Piece comes out. It is the epitome of fun.
And man, I just love this panel of Chopper crying with his chopsticks and saying this is the most fun I've ever had, because having seen him at his lowest points, you just wanted this for him so bad, and we got it, and it's the perfect way to conclude this
God,
arc.
that is a really good panel. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It'll be so good.
And then we see Bon Clay.
Holy shit!
Bon Clay and Mr. Crocodile, like, we are setting up for like the climax of this whole thing we've been building up to on our way to Alabasta and Baroque Works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah. Most mangas, this would be their climactic like ending, basically, where like they start going to the end of their runs.
Yeah, like a lot has been building up to here, and it's oh my god, Bradley's gonna read Alabasta, Joe. Can you believe we live in this timeline?
Yeah. So Bradley, just word of warning going forward. Alabasta is
4 volumes, I believe.
Yeah,
very long.
So we're gonna split it in 2. I'm probably gonna try to do 2 volumes.
2. That sounds like a really good call.
Yeah, I don't know where they end, but yeah.
Also, the back of this volume has ads for all the Shonen Jump stuff, like they usually do. So everyone go read. What do they have in here? Everyone go read Tegami Bachi. Is that how you pronounce this?
Oh, the classic.
There's an ad for one thing that's always in these One Piece volumes where it's like the best lawyers in the world all go to this elementary school and they settle playground disputes in a court of law.
That's right up my alley. Wait, hold up.
No, I saw that and I was like, I bet Willer loves this.
Oh, I've never heard of it. Is it Detective Conan or something?
It's called School Judgment.
Yo,
at elementary, there's only one way to settle a dispute in a court of law.
Wait, hold up. School Judgment is... No, I'm thinking of Hell Warden Higuma. Never mind.
All quarrels bypass the teachers and are settled by some of the best lawyers in the country, who also happen to be elementary school students.
Stop. Oh, shit, it's on Viz. Let's fucking go.
Also, it's by the creators of Death Note.
Oh, let's fucking go!
So, everyone, this is now a School Judgment podcast.
I just want to end this by saying Bradley Bon Clay is the fucking best. I can't wait.
Slaps, man.
I really like his design and his ship.
Imagine it be me, 10-year-old Willer. You only know the dubbed One Piece. You buy a video game. You unlock a character. You only know like up to Kuro and Krieg, but you're playing anyways. You buy a fucking video game. You see that monstrosity as a 10-year-old boy. You start to feel things about yourself.
No.
That you can't ever be as cool as he can.
Oh, that's what you feel. Okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
So yeah, we're getting into Alabasta, man, the big one.
Stay tuned.
This is a turning point for sure, because this is like after Alabasta is essentially like when the 4Kids anime stopped for.
Well, it's also when One Piece starts for the 5th time.
Yeah, but this is like for a lot of people, like Alabasta is like the point past that unknown territory in terms of when they read, because you've only been built up for Crocodile the entire time that.
Oh, Bradley, what was your Drum Island ranking?
Oh yes, this is important.
Drum Island ranking, man, like before Chopper's whole existence, I was gonna rank it a little bit lower because I was like it kind of felt like intermediary, and like Wapple is really fun to watch fight as a villain, as a character. I was like, whatever.
Wapple's the worst villain so far, in my opinion.
But man, like Chopper's whole like backstory and conclusion here, like 4 out of 5 at least. Like I really enjoyed it.
Damn. Okay. What about Luffy climbing that mountain though? You can't disgrace that.
Oh, that shit was so good.
Man, me and Joe got blown the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh wait, hold on. Am I doing this right?
Yeah, we gave it the same score. All right.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure I actually recorded in the right spot. I thought I put it in a little garden spot.